The new parts have arrived from the factory without issue. They'll be fitted to the car in time for the next session.
What's going on, guys? It's Luke22SV here, and we're here with the 7th round of the Mick Schumacher career mode. We're here for the Canadian Grand Prix after a disappointing result in Monaco. We've got some new upgrades to the car and to this weekend. We're right behind Mercedes now, so we're looking good. Renault are looking good, and that is how the performance is looking after round 7. So Renault really closing in on the top 2 guys now. We're closing in on the top 4 as well, so we got a good car coming into Canada, so hopefully we can have a good result this weekend, and hopefully we can look good in the race in qualifying after a result which we qualified quite well around this track last season. So we're looking to do the same here around this track. But coming into the first practice session, had a little incident actually coming into the final chicane around the Champions Wall, like we did last season. In fact, we just completely lost it, completely going too fast into the chicane, into the wall. A bit of a disaster for us in the first first practice. And here's the replay. You can't really see from this angle, but yeah, we just completely clattered the wall. It was a complete disaster. Not what we want heading into the weekend after such a disappointing result in Monaco. But here you can see we're just kind of, I think we just got over the curb a little bit, turned in quite early, and that lifted us up and out of shape at that point and just completely clattered the wall. And that is us out of a practice session. But we're going to move into qualifying, and it's going to be a wet qualifying as well, so tricky conditions for us. The AI seem to excel in the wet, whereas we just tend to struggle, unfortunately for us. But what can we do? We are now moving on to our lap. We're actually P19 after that first lap, so a bit of a disappointing lap. We're split in the Williamses, but it's really struggling for grip in these wet conditions. It started off as full wet, and we start slowly towards the end of the session, which is when we started setting our laps. We went to intermediates, and again we're struggling on this lap, a little bit down on our lap time. So we're just really we look really strong in the dry as well. So the fact that we had a wet qualifying was a huge dampen on the weekend, literally. But heading towards this lap, it's one of my favourite tracks on the calendar, quite close to my birthday in real life as well. This is normally, and we are actually up on our time now, which is good news. But we're just closing on Brendan Hartley, who's holding us up a little bit, and we're going to have to go past him into the hairpin, which costs us a little bit of time. We haven't got the right line going into the hairpin. We're coming out of it now and onto the back straight towards the final corner of the lap to see if we can improve this lap time, which we should be able to do. Which is good news, but we don't know where this will be putting us on the grid. This is going to be our fastest lap, of course, heading into the final corner, braking as late as possible and trying to get on the power as early as possible as we come across the line, and it's going to put us into a P11, and we end the session with that, which is going to be disappointing for us, because look how good our teammate has done with the Sauber car. 4th on the grid, so Red Bull looking strong as per usual. Hamilton in 3rd, Charles Leclerc 4th, Renault looking good. Ferrari are a bit off the pace as well, so a bit weird to see that, but Ferrari was just basically the best car as well, not being able to get the car at the front of the grid. So we're moving on into the race then. We're 13th on the grid then. What can we do from 13th? Hopefully we can move up the order. We should be able to actually. This time last season, if we were qualifying 13th, we'd be happy with that and hoping to stay there. But this time this season, we're hoping to improve off of that position off the grid, because 13th really doesn't do our car justice at the moment. Because Leclerc's up in 4th place, and you can see the 2 Red Bulls looking at the front row. They have done quite a lot already this season. Verstappen leading the way from Ricciardo this time, Hamilton 3rd, Leclerc up there in 4th. So Sauber looking strong this weekend, both the Renaults looking strong, Vettel looking good, and we actually move up to P12 because it looks like someone's got a penalty. I think it might be one of the Mercedes actually. Alonso, yeah, Bottas down in 18th. So both the Williams is on the last row, as you'd expect, as it has been quite a lot this season already. As we head on to the race then for the Canadian Grand Prix. What can we do from 12th on the grid? Here we go then. We've got one of our arch rivals in front of us in Kevin Magnussen. Can we get a good start off the grid? Here we get lights out and away we go. And it's a fairly sluggish start, but heading towards turn 1, a short run out into turn 1. We've got Gasly alongside us. But we got the inside line going into turn 2, so we shouldn't have to worry too much about Gasly unless he can hang it around the outside. But we do keep hold of P12 after the first couple of corners. Ahead of Pierre Gasly now heading towards the next few corners, turn 3. Everyone jostling for position. looking for a perfect opportunity to get past Magnussen and Perez, and so forth. We go down the inside of Kevin Magnussen into the next corner, and that's the sector 1 done. So we gained 1 position in that sector, and we've got Perez and Ocon ahead of us as well. So Force India looking fairly sharp here as well. Force India being fairly decent all season so far, rather best of the rest really. Apart from the top 5 teams, they've been best of the rest. But heading towards the end of this lap then, P11, so we gained 1 place, and we're now looking down the inside of Perez and looking down the inside of Ocon as well, braking very late. Didn't really know if we were going to get past Ocon, but we don't in the end, because Ocon gets a much better exit out of the hairpin, heading towards the champion chicane. We've now got a bit of slipstream from Ocon, but Perez is looking to make a move as well, because he's got slipstream. We're looking to make a move down the outside at Ocon. We get a better exit out of the championship chicane as well, and we now move up to P9, and it's going to be the end of P9 at the end of lap 1, but Ocon coming back at us again into turn 1, but we managed to keep ahead of him. And next up is Vettel as well, so we've got Vettel and the Mercedes and the Renaults as well. So here's the replay at the start. You can see both the Red Bulls leading the way. Ourselves just having a little bit of a poor start. See Bottas behind us as well, so he will be looking to make his way through the field just like ourselves in P12 on the grid. So Bottas was like P17, so interesting to see if he can get through the field just like we are aiming to do the same as we head towards the turn 3. Not been able to make any positions really off the start at this point. Open to gain more at this point, but we do get past Magnussen. We can't be too greedy at the start, and we just got to bide our time really and see if where we can end up, because we saw how quick we were in practice. We were quite quick, fairly good pace we showed in practice, but we don't know if that will translate into the race pace as well, because qualifying was just so disappointing for us. Our teammate was up there, so we're hoping to be around fighting for a podium perhaps in this race if we can gain positions, and if we can see the other guys get into trouble. But as you can see, Perez in a little Force India sandwich here, heading towards the final corner. Ocon ended up going to the inside. We were on the outside. He got a poor exit out of the final corner, and we ended up going onto the grass a little bit near the wall, which slowed us down a bit and allowed Ocon to get alongside us again and fight back. But heading to turn 1, we just managed to get the right line and managed to keep in P9 then, so we gained a few positions, 3 positions. But heading towards the end of lap 2, we're now moving on to lap 3. See Max Verstappen still leading the way, going fastest. Heading towards him, closed it up a little bit on Sebastian Vettel, and there we can see fastest lap from ourselves. And little disclaimer as Raikkonen, his engine's gone. By looking at it in front of us, we can see an engine gone. Signs have slowed down. Vettel's been caught up in that as well. So disaster for Raikkonen. Again, another Ferrari slowing down to a stop with an engine failure, and Vettel looks like he might have got in trouble from there as well. So Raikkonen out of the race. Sainz looks like he's in trouble. A little disclaimer as well, we're on ultra softs, whereas everyone else is on hyper softs. So we're looking to go long in this race to see what kind of strategy we can pull off. And now Vettel is looking to overtake Sainz, because Sainz lost a huge chunk of front wing there. So Sainz in real trouble after having a good start for Renault. Renault also not really maximising their points at the moment either. So we're looking to make a move on Sainz as quickly as possible, because we're trying to fight the guys in front of us. Sainz really struggling as well. So we've got to have a look at the replay as well, see what happened there with Raikkonen and why Sainz ended up going into the back of him. Because here's the onboard then from Raikkonen, his point of view. His engine's still going fine until this point where it just starts smoking. Again, a disaster for Ferrari just keeps happening. He looks to pull off and get out of the way, but at the same time, oh hello, Ocon. Ocon also getting in trouble there as well. So I don't know what people were a bit confused by the Ferrari trying to pull off to the side of the track. Ocon and Sainz, it looked like when Raikkonen was trying to get out of the way, Sainz were trying to overtake him, and they both were going the wrong way. But now we're on the end of lap 4, closing in on Vettel, braking very late and almost running into the back of Vettel, so losing us a bit of time there. We had to go to the escape road, and now we're losing position to Perez and Magnussen again. So all our hard work has just come undone there with a little mistake, getting too close to Vettel in the braking zone and having to avoid him and go off the track. So it was all unfolding here on the first few laps of the race, all kicking off. And as you can see, Valtteri Bottas now up to P10, so Bottas has made his way up the field, and he'll be looking to close in on us and myself and Perez as well, and Magnussen. And well, now we've got to get past Magnussen and Perez again after getting past them on the first lap. Got to do all that hard work to get past them again. The DRS open. Can we close in on Magnussen and Perez now? That's what we need to get past these guys, because we want to fight, get as many points as possible to make up for the points we lost in Canada, in Monaco I should say. The Red Bulls and the Mercedes and everyone at the front is getting away, but going into the hairpin, Magnussen leaves the door open for a change and allows us to get through it actually. So we had a clean pass on Magnussen without him chopping us or anything like that. But now we've got to focus on Sergio Perez and see if we can get past him as quickly as possible. He's our next target. We've got DRS open, looking to close in on him, going into the braking zone. And we do actually do really well through the braking zone on Perez. Perez getting a poorer exit. We get a much better exit than him. Heading towards turn 1, we're almost going to get past him before the first corner. In fact, we do. We're up into P7. So after lap 6 now, we're on lap 6. We're in P7 again. So all happening at this race so far. And at the end of P7, we're going to see the guys in front of us pit. So now is our chance to just put in as many fast laps as possible and see what we can do. And see if we can actually get away from these guys and see if we can perform a potential overcut here, which would be a huge thing for us to do. They will all be pitting together, so we're going to have pretty much an empty pit lane, so hopefully we're going to have to rely on those guys getting held up a bit by the midfield coming into the pits and slowing him down in the pit box. So we're coming on to the end of lap 10 then. We've been leading the race. We're coming into the pits now for a set of hyper soft tyres. We're getting rid of these ultra soft tyres, and hopefully we can come out and see if we're any closer to the cars ahead and whether we've managed to perform an overcut. As you can see, a Red Bull going by there, and another Red Bull as well. So both the Red Bulls leading the way. Don't know if we'll be able to catch those guys at this rate in this race. But we're leaving the pits with some hyper softs. We're going to be going as fast as possible because they're all on ultra softs. Use ultra softs now, so they've been on those ultra softs for a while, and we actually have managed to perform an overcut. We've managed to overtake both my teammate and Vettel, so a great little bit of driving from myself. I managed to get us ahead of Leclerc and ahead of Vettel, and we're up into P5 now. So we've got Hulkenberg, Hamilton and both the Red Bulls ahead of us with 8 laps to go. Can we get close enough? Can we even think about winning this race? The Red Bulls aren't too far ahead, but we can certainly think about getting P4 because Hulkenberg is right ahead of us, and we've got DRS, and we're going to be past him before we even get to the chicane, final chicane. We're now ahead of Hulkenberg, going across the line. Great little exit out of that corner as well, but it's right onto the back of Hamilton already on lap 12. We're fastest lap of the race. It's absolutely flying here at this stage. Leclerc's now up to P5 as well, so Leclerc's now fighting with Hulkenberg, but P4 at this point is a huge delight for us. Now we're seeing Hamilton is ahead of us, so can we close in on Hamilton and get into the podium position? What a result this would be from being P12 on the grid. It could have been even better had we not have had a off when we tried to overtake Vettel. Well, didn't try and overtake Vettel, we just broke too late. But I could have, if we didn't make that mistake, we could potentially be along with the Red Bulls right now, which is something we need to think about really. But now we're really on the back of Hamilton. Decided not to make the overtake into the hairpin, decided to wait for the back straight, getting as good as possible exit, but Hamilton looks like he gets a slightly better exit. But we got DRS, and we're going to be going as fast as possible, and going to get the rear wing is going to be open. It's going to allow us to get into P3, and we're up into P3 now for the corner. So we're not even making proper overtakes, we're just properly just driving past these guys at the moment. Such is our advantage at the moment over these guys. We're getting past them before we even get into the corner. Now you can see the Red Bulls are actually really close to us. So the Red Bulls, despite having a huge advantage over everyone, just hasn't actually managed to get a huge gap over the rest of the field at this race. So closing in on lap 14, Ricciardo, you can see, is just ahead of us now, and we're going to be looking to get past him. And then we got Max Verstappen, who's leading the race, who's a couple of seconds ahead of him. So can we get past these guys with just 5 laps to go? Can we potentially get our second win of the season, following up from Spain? And it would be a huge result for us, a huge result for Sauber, which would potentially put us in a championship fight if we can actually get a win on merit as well. Obviously Spain was our first win, and that was a bit lucky as well, a bit fortunate to win that. But this would be a huge win for us because we've actually managed to come through the field, and well, now we're right on the back of Ricciardo, so we're going to get DRS, and this is a perfect opportunity to get past Ricciardo. Can we get past him out on our first attempt? We look a little bit too far back actually, so maybe like the other cars, we're not going to be able to get past him into the braking zone. Look to the inside, maybe think a bit better of it. We don't want to make contact, but Ricciardo goes really slow through the exit. Now we get DRS wide open, and we get just going ahead of him just towards turn 1. Can we get ahead of him into turn 1? It does look like we can, and we're into P2 now, and we can see Ricciardo's teammate Verstappen is just a few seconds down the road with 4 laps to go. Is the perfect opportunity now to see if we can get up to Verstappen, see if these tyres can hold on, and coming up to P, the last couple of laps left, and well, a few audio issues, but there was nothing I could do about that, so you're just going to have to pay attention to the screen that you can see right now, which is just me following Verstappen with 2 laps to go. Can we get close enough to him to potentially win this race and potentially, well, take home a second win for ourselves this season, and Sauber's 3rd win of the season? So Sauber really having a good start to this season. Well, it was just a little bit unexpected. Didn't really think we would be able to challenge for wins at this point, but we're not complaining really about that. And it could be a championship fight if we can really assert ourselves in this race and get close enough to Verstappen. Now we're within a second of Verstappen. Can we get past him going on to the last lap of the race? That's the true question. We got DRS going to be wide open coming onto the back straight with just 1 more lap to go after this lap is done. Can we get overtaking him into the chicane? We get close. Can we get past him? But no, he gets a poor exit out of that corner. We clattered the wall slightly there as well, so almost him going slowly through that corner put us into the wall. But coming on to the last lap, we're really close to him now, and can we get past him? Surely it's only a matter of time. If we're this close to him coming onto the back straight, then surely we're going to be able to get past Max Verstappen. And well, we just got to keep our cool and see what we can do. Look for the right opportunity. There's going to be a DRS straight coming up here after this next corner. So after sector 1, you can see just 2 tenths behind him. Can we get past him? We've got DRS going to be open now. He gets a better exit though, so it doesn't look like we're going to be able to make an overtake here. So we're going to get DRS, and that's going to keep us close, and it's going to help us move in back into him then. So coming through the next few corners, little chicane, we can see Verstappen very slow off the exit. We're still getting close to him. Now we just got to get close as possible in the hairpin, get a best exit possible to enable ourselves a chance at winning this race. And this is exactly what we want. This is exactly what Red Bull want, because Red Bull are fighting for this championship. But DRS is now open. Can we get an overtake onto the final corner of the final lap of the race? We're close enough to Verstappen. We go down the inside, and we're going to get past him on the final lap of the final corner, the final lap of the race, and we're going to finally win this race from P12. What a result for us! What a race! And it's a 2nd win of the Mick Schumacher career mode for us, and what a result for us! We're absolutely thrilled with that. Poor old Verstappen leading the entire race apart from the last corner of the last lap. But we are not sharing any sympathy for him, because we've crossed the line in 1st, and we're absolutely thrilled with that. And so is Frederic Vasseur, the Sauber boss there, as we are collecting another 25 points, and that should really relieve the pain that we suffered in Monaco. But there we go, taking the winner's trophy again. Both the Red Bulls behind us. But it's going to be a huge battle then. This going towards the end of the season with those 2 Red Bull guys, to see if we can fight those guys for the championship, because it looks like it's a 2-horse race at the moment. Whether we can make it a 3-horse race with ourselves, or whether Leclerc can join in as well, because he's managed to win a race this season. But moving on then to the constructors and drivers standings, then we got driver of the day, which isn't really a surprise. Although I think Bottas might have actually got it as well. But there you can see the order. Magnussen finished 9th, Bottas finished 17th in the end, so 7th in the end, so he gained 11 places. So good result for him getting through the field. He had a good race. Sainz managed to recover to 10th after losing his front wing, and Ricciardo, as you can see, we're still quite a bit behind, but we're still in there, so we're still 3rd. So Red Bull leading away from Sauber's 2nd, Leclerc getting a handful of points, so there you can see. But that's going to be pretty much the end of the episode there, after a long time off. Thank you for being patient, you guys, and that's going to be the end of the episode, and I'll see you in a couple days time for the French Grand Prix.